Cody, Wyoming is often called the rodeo capital of the world. The Cody Stampede Rodeo has attracted countless tourists to the small town east of the Yellowstone National Park entrance since 1919. With a population of only 10,000, Cody draws 800 to 900 contestants per year with a payout of over $400,000. Held July 1st through the 4th each year to sell out crowds, it's traditionally one of the highest paying rodeos over the 4th of July holiday, known as Cowboy Christmas. Because contestants only compete once for a chance at big prize money, they can move on to compete in other rodeos and still win big at Cody. This large event is put on by a volunteer board of business people who dedicate themselves to the sport year-round. In a town named for William Buffalo Bill Cody, a sense of authentic Western lifestyle is essential to the community. This rodeo plays a central part in keeping Cody's sense of Western heritage and culture alive and well. Cody was honored with the PRCA Large Outdoor Rodeo of the Year in 1998 and 99. In 2014, the Women's Professional Rodeo Association honored Cody with the title of Large Outdoor Rodeo of the Year. Today, Cody is honored once again, this time with induction into the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. Commotion, a 1,300-pound bay stallion, was voted top bareback horse of the National Finals Rodeo on his very first trip to the event in 1997. He would return 9 more times to the NFR and claim 3 bareback horse of the year titles along the way. Commotion was born and raised on the Butler and Son ranch near Elk City, Oklahoma. His mother was Spooky Movie, who also went to the NFR. His sire was part of a racehorse breeding program. Commotion was bucked 4 times as a 4-year-old, and he sent all 4 cowboys to the ground. At the height of his career, Commotion had a 75% buck-off rate. If a cowboy managed to make it to the whistle, he usually made it to the pay window. Benny Butler was often quoted as saying, "Commotion never had a bad trip, and even on an off day, the Cowboys still made money." Commotion was retired at the 2006 National Finals at the age of 15 and entered the Butler and Son breeding program full-time. He has sired more than 80 foals who have gone on to compete at the NFR. 2 of his daughters, Killer Bee and Wound Up, have won top saddle bronc honors. Commotion passed away September 7, 2016. He was 25. Another great bronc now joins the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. Elra and John Arthur Jiggs Butler formed Butler and Son Rodeo Company in 1956. Elra had previously worked with his brothers Jake and Lynn to form the Butler Brothers Rodeo Company. The new company started with 7 rodeos their first year and steadily increased until they were putting on about 30 each year between 6 different states. Butler and Son became synonymous with top livestock and quality rodeo production. Focusing on quality over quantity, they chose rodeos based on the traveling needs of their stock. They sent livestock to the National Finals Rodeo in 1959, 60, 61, and 62, and from 1964 through 1988. At the first National Finals in 1959, Speck was chosen Bull of the Year, and he won that honor again in 1960. In 1973, Butler and Son had the Saddle Bronc of the Year with Sam Bass. The core of the Butler Ranch is 5,000 acres in western Oklahoma's short grass country. This fertile area gave the stock plenty of room to graze and also allowed for farming. When Jiggs passed away from a farming accident, his son Benny stepped in to run the business with Elra. After Elra passed away in 1987, Benny joined forces with E.K. Gaylord II to create Butler and Gaylord Rodeo. In 2000, Gaylord gave his share of the company to Rhett Butler, Benny's son. Thus, the reforming of Butler and Son Rodeo Company, which still exists today. Please welcome Elra and Jiggs Butler to the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. Alan Bach fell in love with roping at an early age. In order to concentrate more on roping, he moved from Washington to Arizona in high school so that he could practice longer. In 1977, he joined the PRCA and in 1978 he went to his first National Finals rodeo with partner Brian Burrows. In 1979, everything went right for Bach, and he won his first NFR average and world championship. Bach would make 30 appearances at the NFR and win 4 world titles. Among his many accomplishments, in 1990, he became the first cowboy in history to jump from 15th to 1st during the NFR and win the world championship. The narrow margin of victory, just $500. In 1995, the first year the PRCA crowned both world champion header and world champion heeler, Bach and his partner Bobby Hurley took the gold buckles. In 1993, the pair had finished first and second, with Bach finishing just behind Hurley. Bach has never been shy about his faith in God being a major component in his life. In 2006, he formed Forever Cowboys to mentor young cowboys and cowgirls. Bach wanted to increase the impact of cowboy values on the next generation of rodeo athletes. He has also helped influence the rodeo world through his roping camps. He even took the opportunity to teach the basic to 40 ropers in Israel at a 2-day camp in the Golan Heights region. Please make room in the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame for a 4-time world champion, Alan Bach. Tommy Lucia's rodeo career started at age 15 riding bareback horses and bulls. When a friend was injured, he filled in as a clown and a bullfighter. At 20, he made the switch to full-time bullfighting. But when Lucia applied to be a barrel man at the Fort Worth Stock Show, he found his true calling as an entertainer in the barrel. Lucia began developing pantomime acts, a matador act with bulldogs, and many others to help fill the gaps between rodeo events. He brought tears to many eyes with In His Glory and In His Glory 2, both jet black, sway-back dancing horses. Probably his most notable act was Whiplash, the cowboy monkey. Whiplash, dressed as a cowboy, rode a border collie into the arena to herd sheep. Whiplash became so popular, he did Taco John's and Dairy Queen commercials and made TV appearances on Good Morning America, ESPN, The Today Show, and he became a viral hit on YouTube. Lucia also did some movie work. He was an extra and a bullfighter in Junior Bonner and The Great American Cowboy. Lucia's work earned him 3 consecutive PRCA Entertainer of the Year awards. He worked the Texas Circuit Finals 4 times and was the National Finals Rodeo Barrelman in 1973. He also opened the National Finals with his axe on 5 occasions. Lucia retired in 2014 and passed away 2 years later. Please welcome Tommy Lucia to the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. Dean Gorsuch, a third-generation steer rustler, grew up in the cattle country of northwestern Nebraska. He competed in college rodeo while studying welding at Eastern Wyoming College. Gorsuch eased into professional rodeo. The Nebraskan spent 5 years as a pipeline welder and a weekend circuit contender before jumping into full-time rodeo in 2005. Sticking mostly to circuit rodeos, he won the Montana State Circuit Finals Rodeo Steer Rustling Average in 2005 and qualified for his first Dodge National Circuit Finals. When 2005 came to an end, Gorsuch wound up 6th in the world. By the end of 2006, Gorsuch had a world championship and a brand new career. He suffered an injury that kept him out of most of 2007, but he came back strong, finishing as a runner-up for the world title in 2008. His second gold buckle came in 2010 on the back of his gray horse Pumpjack. Pumpjack came in second in the AQHA PRCA Steer Rustling Horse of the Year ballots. After retiring from rodeo, Gorsuch took a job teaching welding at Eastern Wyoming College and running steer wrestling camps near his home in Gearing, Nebraska. Today, Dean Gorsuch joins his fellow world champions in the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. In 1980, Larry Peabody was about to retire from professional rodeo after 2 rough seasons when a $1,000 refund check from the IRS arrived in the mail. He decided to rodeo until the funds ran out. Shortly after receiving the check, Peabody won the Pikes Peak Bus Rodeo, hit a hot streak, and never looked back. Peabody was always a consistent and modest rider. Bruce Ford was often quoted as saying that if Larry Peabody ever figured out how good he was, he'd be a world champion. In the spring of 1981, Peabody won the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association Bareback Championship, helping Dawson Community College win a national team title. That same year, he qualified for the National Finals Rodeo, and Peabody would set a new NFR record on Growney Brothers' Dreamboat Annie. His 89-point mark stood until 1995. Peabody earned enough money team roping to be a Montana Circuit all-around champion in 1982. He was also a four-time Montana Circuit bareback champion. In a hard-fought battle in 1984, Peabody won the 10th round of the NFR aboard Mesquite Rodeo's Bojangles and earned $2,000 more than Louis Field to win the gold buckle. After his championship run, Peabody gradually retired from rodeo to run a cattle ranch in Montana. Today, Larry Peabody takes his place in the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. A 3-year-old Jerome Robinson announced that he intended to become a bull rider while attending the National Western Stock Show with his grandmother. Robinson attended Colorado State University, studying an education, but maintained that he really majored in rodeo. He qualified for 3 National Intercollegiate Rodeo Finals and was rodeoing professionally when he graduated in 1969. He qualified for his first of 11 National Finals rodeo appearances in 1970, the last in 1981. During his time in the professional ranks, Robinson served as the bull riding director on the PRCA board for 4 years, vice president for 1, a term on the National Finals Rodeo Commission, and was on the PRCA Research and Development Committee for the building of the Colorado Springs headquarters and Hall of Fame. Robinson made a lasting contribution to rodeo when he helped institute the centralized computer entry system known as ProCom. ProCom consolidated over 500 individual rodeo entry systems across the country into one, facilitating a vastly more efficient method of entering and producing PRCA rodeos. An injury in 1982 took Robinson out of competition for 4 months, but afforded him the opportunity to launch an integrated rodeo production business specializing in indoor rodeos. He handled everything from booking venues, hauling dirt for the arena, hiring contractors, and producing the performance. In 1985, the PRCA asked Robinson to execute the production of the ESPN televised rodeo series, The Winston Tour. Robinson's company has produced events in Japan, France, Finland, Oman, Italy, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and Venezuela. Today, Jerome Robinson's versatility and ingenuity in the rodeo world earns him a place in the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. Doug Droopy Brown grew up in the Northwest and began his rodeo career when he paid to ride one of Larry Mahan's bulls. He tried earning a college degree before striking out on the rodeo trail, but only lasted 2 years before Rodeo won. He joined the Rodeo Cowboys Association in 1966 as a saddle bronc and bull rider. Brown qualified for the National Finals Rodeo a total of 13 times, 5 in bull riding, 8 in saddle bronc riding. He won the bull riding title in 1969 and finished second in the all-around standings that same year, behind his friend Larry Mahan. In one of the last rounds of the 1976 NFR, Brown broke his wrist and twisted a knee after dismounting from his saddle bronc. He decided to retire and run a restaurant near his hometown. But 2 years into retirement, he decided he'd left the game too soon. Along with his world championship, Brown won 4 Columbia River Circuit titles, 2 in bull riding and 2 in saddle bronc riding. He continued to compete in rough stock events until 1988, then he switched to team roping. He retired from full-time competition in 1992. Brown spent more than a decade as a rodeo judge and 2 decades teaching the next generation of athletes at rodeo schools. In 2014, he was inducted into the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Center's Rodeo Hall of Fame. Today, Doug Droopy Brown joins his peers in the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. While Jimmie Munroe initially made a name for herself in the rodeo arena by winning the WPRA World title in 1975, it's her commitment to the advancement of women in professional rodeo that has cemented her legacy in the sport. Munroe, a Texas native, entered her first horse show at age 3, her first rodeo at age 10. An impressive rodeo career was launched with 2 National Intercollegiate Rodeo barrel racing titles and an all-around title. She went on to win 3 WPRA World titles, one in barrel racing, an all-around, and tie-down roping in 1975. She won 2 WPRA season barrel racing titles in 1976 and 77, and made 11 trips to the National Finals Rodeo on 3 different horses. During the 1984 NFR, she won the first 5 rounds aboard Smooth Cadet, a feat unmatched by any NFR contestant at the time of her induction. Munroe served as president of the WPRA from 1978 through 1993, and again in 2011 and 12. During her tenure as president, she led the association in acquiring equal prize money for women, obtained national sponsors, strived for better arena conditions, and advanced the use of electric timers. In 1980, she married Dan Bud Munroe, a 12-time NFR qualifier and the 1986 PRCA World Champion saddle bronc rider and a ProRodeo Hall of Fame inductee. The couple has 1 daughter, Tassie. Please welcome Jimmie Munroe to the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. Florence Irie joined the Girls Rodeo Association, now the Women's Professional Rodeo Association, in 1951, and she hit the ground running both inside and outside the arena. On the competitive side, Irie won the WPRA All-Around title in 1966, but it was her services to the association in an administrative capacity where she really made her mark. Irie served the association as a director, then president from 1960 through 64, and then secretary-treasurer, where she made the biggest impact. It was during that time Irie worked to get barrel racing included at the National Finals Rodeo as one of the main events. With the help of 1990 ProRodeo Hall of Fame inductee Clem McSpadden and Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce manager Stanley Draper, barrel racing became a featured event at the NFR in 1967. Irie was fortunate to have competed at the NFR in '67, and her legacy has been passed down to her family. Daughter Renee Irie Ward made the NFR in 1985. Granddaughter Janae Ward Massey qualified in 2001 through 2003, winning the WPRA World title in 2003. And another granddaughter, Kylie Ward Wiest, qualified in 2018. Irie and husband Dale produced GRA all-girl rodeos and was the first to host barrel racing camps, training many future WPRA world champions. The Iries also started the Oklahoma Youth Rodeo Association and Barrel Futurities of America that really changed the landscape of barrel racing. Irie served as that president for 18 years. Please welcome Florence Irie to the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. From chasing Mustangs on the deserts of Arizona and Nevada, to a WPRA Barrel Racing World Championship, to roping and falling off horses in the movies, Sammy Thurman Brackenbury has done it all. Brackenbury qualified for the National Finals Rodeo 11 consecutive times, winning the world title in 1965. The only daughter of PRCA cowboy Sam Fancher, Brackenbury became one of the first women to rope in an RCA rodeo when her father entered the team roping at Santa Maria and his partner failed the show. Brackenbury was entered in the barrel race, so Fancher got permission from the RCA for her to rope. In addition to Santa Maria, she was one of the first women to rope at California Rodeo Salinas, placing second in a round. Crediting her father for many of her training techniques, Brackenbury became the first to hold barrel racing clinics from 1965 through 75, averaging 1,000 students a year. One of the techniques she pioneered was switching hands between the first and second barrel. Brackenbury designed her own saddles and protective boots for her horses' legs, equipment that did not exist at that time in barrel racing. She served as California Circuit Director, All Events Director, Vice President, and in 1975 served a short tenure as the President of the WPRA. Living out west, she got involved in motion pictures and in the late 1950s starred in Horse of the West. She's also doubled for well-known actresses such as Jane Fonda, Linda Evans, Kathy Bates, and Dolly Parton. She's also a charter member of the United Stunt Women's Association. It's for all this and more, Sammy Thurman Brackenbury is now in the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame.